Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Hernandez, and this is going to be my video presentation uh, based on the motto of Scott Ray, 7 steps of making moral and ethical choices. So, the title of this presentation is going to be The Church's Approach to Undocumented Immigrants, Love and Compassion versus Justice and Social Order. So, based on the title, as you can see, this is not going to be an easy topic to talk about or present. Uh, in no way, this is also a political presentation, but it's going to be a presentation that's going to try to be as faithful to biblical and ethical principles. So, in this introduction, um, immigration is currently one of the most controversial issues for both morality and public policy. Churches that often encounter undocumented immigrants must make difficult decisions about how to apply that aid, or there are legal limitations on how that aid is applied. So, some of the questions we can ask about this ethical dilemma would be should the church provide care and support for undocumented individuals? How should this aid be administered, even if it can cause controversy within law-abiding Christians? Um, and also create tension with legal boundaries. So, in other words, should the church prioritize obedience to civil law or compassion towards undocumented immigrants? Step one. So, here we start the first step of the 7 step journey. So, first, we gather the facts. So, some of the facts here would be that the church encounters all kinds of immigrants, whether they're legally in the country or not. Undocumented immigrants are among the most vulnerable in society, and the church is called to show love and compassion to others. Also, the church is called to respect governing authorities and civil law and obey social order. So, here we determine the ethical issue. So, the ethical issue regarding this topic is that there can be tension between mercy and justice. So, in other words, we have to discern between the call to love our neighbor by showing love, compassion, and respect to the most vulnerable in society, and respect for law and order, which we as Christians are also called to obey, according to Romans 13. Step 3, determine the relevant virtues and principles that have a bearing on the case. So, most of these principles and virtues we have already mentioned, and these key values are love, mercy, compassion, hospitality. But that also includes justice, order, and respect for authority or public law. But I do want to mention and emphasize a specific principle, and that is the principle that Scott Ray presents in his in uh, in our textbook, and that is the intrinsic human dignity, which means that all humans, regardless of immigration status, are made in the image of God. Daniel Grudy mentions in the book of Genesis, we're introduced to a central truth that human beings are created in the image and likeness of God. This is not just another label, but a way of speaking profoundly about human nature, defining all human beings in terms of imago Dei. Provides a very different starting point for the discourse on immigration and creates a different trajectory for the discussion. Step 4, list the alternatives. So here I'm going to present 4 alternative choices. The first one would be that the church can provide full aid to an individual, both physical and spiritual, regardless of legal status, even if it may violate some civil laws. Second option, the church can provide spiritual and support and does not get involved in their physical needs. Option 3, the church limits aid to legal immigrants only to avoid legal or social tension. And lastly, the church provides a balanced aid for undocumented immigrants that grants them both physical and spiritual aid while also having legal accountability to not cross any legal boundaries. Step 5, compare alternatives, virtues, and principles. So based on option 1, this option aligns with biblical principles that show love, compassion, hospitality, and mercy. And it also emphasizes the doctrine of Imago Dei, although it may neglect lawful stewardship that we are also biblically commanded to obey. Option 2, this option aligns more with a lawful obedience while also providing a spiritual or pastoral aid to undocumented immigrants, but mercy is limited. Option 3, this option honors order and civil law at the risk of ignoring Christ's call to mercy, love, and compassion. Option 4, this option attempts to align with all the virtues and principles that we have mentioned previously. And while compassion is applied, justice is also being upheld. So consider the consequences. Step 6. So some of the consequences for the first option would be that there may be legal frictions with the state and can cause controversy even within the church. Option 2, this option, while it's safe from legal friction, it could still harm the church's witness of hospitality, which we're commanded to do. Option 3, this option may protect the institution from legal frictions, but it harms the church's witness in all virtues and principles about human dignity and care for the vulnerable. Option 4, this option is most balanced of all. It contributes to more integrity in aspects of caring for others with love and compassion, while also upholding civil obedience. So this option promotes better unity and fairness with one another. Step 7, make a decision and justify. So based on all the virtues and principles, the consequences, and going through all of the alternatives, I come to the conclusion of choosing option 4, which says the church provides a balanced aid for undocumented immigrants that grants them both physical and spiritual aid, while also having legal accountability to not cross any legal boundaries. And what are the justification for that? So, as a church, we reflect Christ's love for all people according to Matthew 25, chapter 25, verses 35 through 40. Civil law is being obeyed while also being compassionate to the most vulnerable. Also, neutrality is maintained and can reduce the risk of division between the two opposite sides. And out of all the options, it is the most sustainable, compassionate, and wise decision. So as I mentioned, this is not an easy topic to talk about. In no way is this defending that illegal immigration is good or that it's safe, but instead it's a reflection from biblical and ethical principles in how we are to encounter undocumented immigrants. James Hofmeyr says, people who take the teachings of Scripture seriously and want to treat people graciously will no doubt struggle to find an ethical and legal balance between helping those who are needy on the one hand and yet are residing in a nation illegally on the other. Then, too, one must accept the fact that the Old Testament law draws a distinction between the legal alien and the foreigner. Consequently, the Christian will continue to wrestle with being compassionate and yet recognizing that illegal immigrants, like themselves, need to submit to the laws of the land. These are the academic sources that I used for this presentation and all the argumentations. And I want to say thank you. And this is all for my presentation. And I hope that God bless you all.